Good morning, everybody. Let me start the lecture discussion. This is just a continuation of the discussion we had last meeting. Very quick review lang. Okay, last meeting, we began discussing all about globular proteins. So there are two biologically complex globular proteins in the body. We have the myoglobin and then hemoglobin. With regards to their roles, functions in our body, importante sila for transport. One is for transport of oxygen, then the other type of globular protein is for storage of oxygen. So that would be yung myoglobin for storage and hemoglobin for transport of oxygen. We also discussed the structure of myoglobin, primary structure, up until it attains a tertiary or yung highest level niya, tertiary level of protein structure for myoglobin, knowing that it has only one polypeptide. Isang polypeptide, napakahabang sequence of amino acid residue, 153 amino acid residue. So since isa lang yung polypeptide chain niya, then its highest protein structure is only up until tertiary structure. And then for hemoglobin structure naman, it is said to be a tetramer, a hetero-oligomeric, since it has four chains, more than one yung polypeptide chain niya, then it attains until quaternary structure. So it is capable of holding four oxygen molecules kasi apat yung heme ng hemoglobin. For the arrangement of the subunits ng hemoglobin in its quaternary structure, it is in dimers. So two monomers are paired, alpha and beta 1, and then we have the alpha beta 2. And so this is another conformation of form of hemoglobin, the tense form, and then the other one is the relaxed form. Between the two, it's the relaxed form able to accommodate more oxygen. Kaya niyang ma-accommodate ng oxygen kasi may freedom of movement ngayon. Lesser kasi yung ionic bonds, hydrogen bonds observed in between dimers. We also discussed the oxygen binding characteristic towards hemoglobin and towards myoglobin. This tells us na for myoglobin, yung oxygen binding is that it binds strongly to oxygen. Ang myoglobin, bounded sa iya has strongly yung oxygen, even at low oxygen pressure. Hindi niya talaga ibibigay, di ba, yung oxygen kahit napunta pa siya sa area na mababa yung oxygen pressure. Kaya mainly for storage talaga siya, yung myoglobin. At low pressure, na-attain na niya yung 50% saturation. Whereas yung hemoglobin, it is capable of both binding strongly the oxygen kapag nasa sa higher oxygen pressure, then capable din siya mag-easily release, let go sa oxygen, ibigay ang oxygen kapag mababa yung oxygen pressure. Okay? Kaya magkaiba yung graph ng hemoglobin towards oxygen binding at saka ng myoglobin. Hyperbolic for myoglobin, sigmoidal for hemoglobin. So for this morning, we'll just finish all the slides under globular proteins and then we'll proceed to nucleic acids. Okay, for this topic, this is still all about hemoglobin. We will discuss the cooperative binding capacity of oxygen towards hemoglobin. Talking about cooperative binding of oxygen, this is also referred to as heme-to-heme interaction. Synonymous na sila. Heme-to-heme interaction, it tells us that when an oxygen molecule binds to one heme of hemoglobin, it enhances the oxygen affinity to the remaining heme groups ng hemoglobin. Let's recall. If this is hemoglobin, it has four hemes. Since apat yung hemes niya, apat din yung kaya niyang ma-hold, diba? Ma-bind to it na oxygen. Heme-to-heme interaction, it tells us na whenever one oxygen molecules bind to one heme of the hemoglobin, it influences or enhances the other ligands, the other oxygen molecule to bind to the other heme portion ng hemoglobin. So magbabind din, enhance din yung binding capacity ng the rest of the ligands. Okay, so kumbaga parang yung concept dito is follow the leader. Kung may leader na nag-una, binding to one heme, the hemoglobin, that the rest of the ligands, example, oxygen, will also bind to the rest of the remaining heme ng hemoglobin. Yan yung cooperative binding. Follow the leader concept. Now, talking about cooperative binding to oxygen in a hemoglobin, there are certain terminologies that you have to take note. Sabi natin, apat nga, follow the leader yung concept dito. Kapag may isang ligand na nag-bind, halimbawa it is an oxygen yung leader, nung una nag-bind sa isang heme ng hemoglobin, then the rest will follow. Enhance din yung affinity ng the rest of the ligands. Now, ang tawag natin dito sa pinakaunang ligand, pinakaunang halimbawa oxygen na nag-bind to a specific site of heme ng hemoglobin, we call that as modulator or allosteric effector. Okay, so that is the ligand that binds to a specific site ng hemoglobin that influences the binding of the other ligand. So yung leader mismo, yung unang nag-bind na ligand, siya yung magiging allosteric effector or the modulator. And diba, pag mayroon ng leader na nag-bind, the rest will follow. Now, ang tawag natin doon sa second sites, kung saan nag-bind ang other ligands, we call them allosteric site. Yung sites na empty, na hindi na binda ni modulator, yung second site na yon, allosteric site ang tawag. Okay? So, kindly take note of the terminologies. So, yun lang. Modulator, yung leader, yung nag-i-influence siya sa binding ng other ligand. And then yung second site, kung asa mo bind ang other ng mga ligand na sumunod sa leader. Ang site na yon, allosteric site. Now, we can further classify the cooperative interactions ng oxygen towards hemoglobin. Depende kung what are those ligands attached to the heme ng hemoglobin. So there are two subclassification. Depende ulit kung anong klaseng ligands naka-attach sa heme portion ng hemoglobin. So we have one, homotropic interaction or homotropic effect. It tells us na lahat ng ligand bound to the hemes ng hemoglobin are the same. Somehow, dali ra siya ma-identify kasi homo means one, it means uniform, it means the same. So pag homotropic ang interaction ng oxygen towards hemoglobin, it only tells us nga the same yung apat na ligand na yun na naka-attach sa heme ng hemoglobin. So halimbawa, this is the hemoglobin, apat yung heme niya. Kung ang allosteric effector or yung modulator is said to be oxygen, then oxygen din yung the rest of the ligand na magbabind sa hemoglobin. So take note, kapag apat na ligands, the same, then homotropic yun. Same ang modulator and the rest of the three ligands. So yan yung homotropic interaction. Kailan naman heterotropic interaction? So hetero tells us nga different. Therefore, yung interacting sites na present no sa hemoglobin, different yung ligands na naka-attach. So this involves already different modulator. Different ang modulator, different ang leader, kumbaga. Different din ang ligands, other ligands that binds to the interacting site ng hemoglobin. So those are the two types of cooperative interactions or allosteric interactions that regulates the binding, no, oxygen binding to hemoglobin. Now, talking about, let's have a detailed discussion on this. With regards to, di ba dalawa yung klase ng cooperative interaction, we have the homotropic, meaning yung apat na ligands na naka-attached sa hemoglobin's heme, the same. Hetero kapag different. Different ang modulator sa other ligands. Regarding the type of specific type ng cooperative interaction ng oxygen binding to hemoglobin, this imposes specific effects. Meron siyang epekto, implication sa oxygen binding. Particularly, pag homotropic, this causes positive effects. Whereas kapag heterotropic, it could either be positive effect, meron siyang positive effect, or meron siyang posibleng negative effect. When I say positive effect, it only tells us na enhanced yung oxygen binding towards the heme of hemoglobin. Enhanced, increased yung affinity ng oxygen doon sa heme sites ng hemoglobin. Yun yung positive effect na pwedeng idulot ng homotropic interactions. So kapag positive effect, ulit ha, enhance yung oxygen binding. Now with regards to heterotropic, aside from meron siyang posibleng positive effect, ang worst, pwede siyang mag-cause ng negative effect. And in opposite sa positive effect, it causes therefore lesser oxygen binding tendency. Pwede siyang mag-cause ng less oxygen binding kapag negative yung effect na kinos ng heterotropic interactions. And among these effects, yung kailangang bigyang solusyon, intervention, solusyonan, kasi it may cause risk, no, a problem. Kasi napapa-lower niya yung oxygen binding to hemoglobin. And remember, kailangan ng tissues natin, ng cells natin, ng fuel in a form of oxygen. Dapat meron talagang matransport na oxygen si hemoglobin to the different parts of our body. E paano kung nagkaroon ng heterotropic interaction, specifically nag-cause siya ng negative effect, lesser ngayon yung binding ni oxygen sa heme ng hemoglobin. So we need to give emphasis on this. We need to identify what are those possible reason bakit pwedeng magkaroon ng negative effect. Ano-ano yung mga substance na yun na pwedeng mag-cause ng less oxygen binding to the heme ng hemoglobin, leading to negative effect. So ito, nasabi na natin to. Homotropic interaction again increases oxygen binding affinity. Ito yung i-give emphasis natin. Under heterotropic interaction or heterotropic effect, sabi natin, dalawa yung posibleng effect, di ba? negative effect, or a positive effect. Now, it's very important that we identify what are those reasons, what are those substances na nagkukos ng negative heterotropic effect. Kasi nga, ang problema dito, di ba, napapababa nila yung oxygen binding capacity towards hemoglobin. So let's find out what are those substances, or we call them negative modulator, that leads to decrease binding affinity of oxygen to the heme ng hemoglobin. So these are examples ng negative effector or negative modulator, or sila din yung allosteric inhibitor. So number one, we have protons. We also have carbon dioxide, and kindly add here carbon monoxide. And lastly, the 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate. We will have a detailed discussion on each of these negative modulator for us to identify, no, or learn, understand why they tend to decrease the binding affinity of oxygen towards hemoglobin. Excuse me. Proton is yung H plus, di ba? Yan yung proton. Okay, sige, let's have a detailed discussion on each of this negative modulator and find out how they induce less binding affinity ng oxygen, negative effect or negative heterotropic effect. Okay, let's start with protons. Okay, protons again, H plus. Kindly take note that the negative effect na kinukos ng proton during heterotropic binding or heterotropic interaction ng oxygen to hemoglobin, we call it Bohr effect. Yan yung negative effect na kinukos ng proton. It is the effect of binding ng protons leading to decrease oxygen binding affinity to hemoglobin. So ano ba yung ginagawa ng proton? Bakit siya nagkukos ng decrease oxygen binding to hemoglobin? Let's say for example, may proton available. Proton tells us na yung environment is said to be acidic. Okay? It tells us na yung environment is said to be acidic. Diba? Pag may proton, acidic yun. Since acids are proton donor, there should be an available proton to make the environment, the system, the entity acidic. So yung ginagawa ng proton class, it simply displaces oxygen in the hemoglobin. Pag-displace niya sa oxygen, supposedly oxyhemoglobin pa yung form, yung state ni hemoglobin, may available na proton. Sinipa niya yung oxygen, gi-displace niya yung oxygen, tingnan ngayon yung oxygen on the product side, it is now free. It is not bounded anymore to hemoglobin. Kasi nag-replace sa kanya is now the proton. Kaya, yung state or form ngayon ng hemoglobin kapag available yung proton, it's deoxy now, deoxyhemoglobin. It is not bounded anymore with oxygen. So yan yung deoxy, removed with oxygen na, yung state na yun ng hemoglobin. Kaya, it tells us na kapag present yung proton, it really decreases the oxygen binding towards hemoglobin. Kasi naging deoxy yung hemoglobin. Okay, so that's Bohr effect. That's the effect ha kapag nag-bind yung proton sa heme ng hemoglobin. So it's a negative modulator. Negative modulator siya kasi napapa-decrease niya yung binding affinity ng oxygen. Next, After proton, we have carbon dioxide. This is another negative effector, negative modulator that decreases oxygen binding to hemoglobin. Now, there are two possible mechanisms how carbon dioxide decreases the affinity of oxygen to hemoglobin. One is yung tinatawag natin na Bohr effect. Kasi carbon dioxide, sabi dito, it lowers the pH. Class, pag low ang pH, acid or base, kindly make use of the chat box. Low ang pH, acid ba yun or base? Okay, pag low ang pH, okay, acid. Therefore, kung acidic, marami ang protons. Kung marami ang protons, mubalik ta ani nga slide. Tama? Naana po'y protons, acidic man daw ang environment. So, Bohr effect yun. Bohr effect kapag may presence, di ba, ng proton, kapag lower yung pH, kapag acidic yung environment. So, there is presence of proton, then it tells us kumusta yung state ng hemoglobin, deoxy. Hemoglobin yun, deoxy, hemoglobin. Another mechanism bakit nagde-decrease ng oxygen binding towards hemoglobin ang carbon dioxide is carbon dioxide participates in the formation of carbamates. Class, ang point lang dito is whenever there is formation of carbamates, ano yung na-release? It releases proton. Okay, so may proton ulit. So, balik ka sa Bohr effect ulit. Okay? That's why whenever there is carbamate formation, that favors deoxy state ng hemoglobin. Okay, so carbon dioxide then still ultimately causes Bohr effect. Kaya nakalagay dito, no, sa definition ng Bohr effect, it is the effect of binding of protons and binding of carbon dioxide, causing decreased oxygen binding affinity to hemoglobin. So both proton and carbon dioxide, they causes Bohr effect. Okay? So both are negative modulator. Negative modulator sila or negative allosteric effector. Okay? So if we refer to this graph, no, this is actually a graph that tells us the effect of the pH on oxygen affinity of hemoglobin. Okay, na kung saan kapag lower yung pH, tingnan, kung 7.2 ang pH, so that's a low pH, di ba? It tells us na mag-shift to the right yung graph. Okay? So how does it happen? Kasi nga, di ba, acidic ang environment, low pH yung may proton. Or let's say, may carbon dioxide. Kasi di ba, ang carbon dioxide din, ultimately, napapataas niya yung proton level. Kaya may Bohr effect. Okay, so acidic yung environment, there are more proton. Kung titingnan mo yung graph, yung kulay blue dyan, okay, nag-shift to the right yung graph. Okay, shifting, it causes shifting of the graph to the right. Why? It is because, di ba, deoxy state na yon ng deoxy state yon ng hemoglobin. Eh kung nasa deoxy state siya, given nga low ang pH, okay, given nga low ang pH, maraming proton, para ma-compensate ng katawan natin yung enough nga oxygenation dapat sa hemoglobin, talagang tataasan natin yung oxygen pressure. The hemoglobin requires now more and more greater oxygen pressure para ma-attain niya ang enough oxygen saturation na dapat talaga, di ba, nga oxygen should be bounded to hemoglobin. So yun yung reason bakit nag-shift to the right. No? To the right. Kasi more pressure man going to the right. Ito yung oxygen pressure, di ba, sa x-axis. So mag-shift it to the right simply to compensate, simply to achieve oxygen saturation. Okay, so it requires greater oxygen pressure now, okay, to attain full or enough oxygen saturation. So yun ang po ibig sabihin dito bakit nag-shift yung graph to the right if at lower pH, no? Or yung effect ng low pH sa oxygen affinity ng hemoglobin. Kaya always talaga, di ba, sigmoidal graph yung representation ng graph for hemoglobin, sigmoidal. Okay, so yan lang po yung ibig sabihin ng graph na yan. Okay, let's have the third negative effector, yung sinabi natin, yung carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, it binds tightly to hemoglobin. Okay? So, kumbaga, it is another negative modulator kapag na-feel ni hemoglobin yung presence ni carbon monoxide since it binds tightly to hemoglobin. In fact, yung affinity niya, tingnan, yung third bullet, yung affinity ni hemoglobin kay carbon monoxide, it's 200 to 250 times greater than oxygen. Mas grabe yung affinity kay hemoglobin kumpara kay oxygen. Kapag na-feel ni hemoglobin may presence ng carbon monoxide nga gas, dun siya mas didikit. Kasi nga 200 to 250 times greater yung affinity niya kumpara kay oxygen. So it's another negative modulator. Diba? Another negative modulator siya. So napapababa niya therefore yung oxygen affinity to hemoglobin. So that's the reason. Kaya nga fatal gas, diba, yung carbon monoxide. Fatal gas siya. Kasi mas nadadivert ngayon si hemoglobin doon kay carbon monoxide na instead dapat yung supposedly si oxygen dapat 'di ba ang iyahang dito siya dapat bounded. Okay, so fatal gas talaga si carbon monoxide, napapababa niya yung oxygen available in our hemoglobin. So whenever there is carbon monoxide poisoning, yung pinaka-best treatment dito is of course hyperbaric oxygen therapy. As in 100% oxygen therapy. We call that hyperbaric. Okay? Yan din yun. Oxygen therapy 100% is given. That is to facilitate dissociation ni carbon monoxide. Dapat taasan nato ang concentration ni oxygen sa katawan. Okay? Para ma-dissociate yung binding ni carbon monoxide kay hemoglobin. Okay? So it is said to be a fatal gas. And, ayan, lastly, yung negative modulator nga atong na-identify is the 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate or it is also known as 2,3-diphosphoglycerate. So, parehara na siya. Okay, so yung ginagawa naman niya as a negative modulator, ganun din naman, it binds strongly to the deoxy form ng hemoglobin. Yung T-state, naalala yung T-state, yung tense form ng hemoglobin. Di ba yan din yung deoxy form ng hemoglobin na kung saan, if this is maintained, retained, talagang less oxygen binding affinity ngayon towards hemoglobin. Again, yung tense state, tense form, di ba hindi sila incapable sila mag-accommodate ng oxygen. Okay, kaya deoxyform yun ng hemoglobin. So yun yung ginagawa ng 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate. It binds strongly doon sa deoxyform ng hemoglobin and it will retain permanently that 10 state ng hemoglobin. Yun yung characteristic ng 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate. Okay? So, ito na yung sinabi natin, gina-stabilize nga niya, gina-retain niya, gina-maintain niya ang 10 state ng hemoglobin, reducing therefore oxygen binding affinity ng hemoglobin. Okay? Now, with regards to 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate na substance sa katawan, there are different, kumbaga, scenarios, mga practices, mga habitual act, or it could be a condition ng tao, disease na nagkukos ng enhanced concentration ng 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate sa katawan. Example, during chronic hypoxia. Okay, and this is observed kapag ang pasyente may emphysema. During high altitudes, kapag nag-trekking yung tao, mountain climbing, nagsaka og bukid, na mountain climbing, diba, papunta silang high altitudes. Kabantay mo, hirap huminga, diba, pag pasaka na ka. Kay increase ngayon yung concentration ng 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate. And remember, ano yung kinukos niya sa oxygen binding? Di ba napapababa niya yung oxygen binding sa hemoglobin. Kaya hirap ngayon, somehow. There is difficulty of breathing ngayon kapag pasaka ka. Mag-trekking ka, pasaka ka in some high altitudes na area. Also, chronic anemia. These are states no, nga nagpapa-enhance ng 2,3-bisphosphoglycerate sa katawan, causing less oxygen binding capacity towards hemoglobin. So those are the four negative modulator. And again, yung kinokos nila as negative modulator or allosteric inhibitor, negative effect, negative heterotropic effect. Okay, so okay, let's summarize before we proceed to the next discussion. Let's summarize first yung mga na-mention natin, ng mga negative modulator, review natin. Again, there are, regarding heterotropic interaction, potentially, pwede siyang mag-cause ng negative effect. And pag sinabing negative effect, it ultimately cause decrease in oxygen binding to hemoglobin. So what are those na na-mention natin? Na negative modulator, we have carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, yung acidity, kasi yung presence particularly, di ba, ng proton, acidity. Yung diphosphoglycerate, and kindly add na lang din, although hindi sila substances, hindi sila mga, kumbaga, compounds in nature, but these are, kumbaga, mga gawain ng tao na pwedeng makakos din ng decrease oxygen binding towards hemoglobin. So kindly add exercise as well. And kapag expose ang tao to high temperature. Okay, to high temperature. Okay, so yung mnemonics natin dito para mapadali yung pag-recall nyo na these are subject to decreasing oxygen binding towards hemoglobin. Cadet, right? Okay, cadet is for this listed on the left side. Diba, cadet, dalawa letter C, isa letter A, then DET. Yung right has something to do with the shifting of the graph, no? To the right na sabi natin, since napapababa yung nila, yung oxygen binding, nagiging deoxy state ngayon, yung hemoglobin, kailangan natin ngayon ng higher oxygen pressure, greater oxygen pressure for hemoglobin to attain high oxygen saturation. Okay, so shifting to the right. Kaya cadet right yung mnemonics natin. Okay, before we proceed no to the pinaka-last na topic under globular protein, let's have this. This is actually a meme that I extracted from one of the Facebook page sa mga biochem na meme. If you understand the topics that I have presented no, on cooperative binding, negative modulator, you can actually understand this meme. Halimbawa, the girl you like, your crush, is si hemoglobin, or the boy that you like is si hemoglobin. Diba, daghan kaayo pwedeng mo bind kay hemoglobin, different modulator. Ang iyang X kay si carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide, we mentioned that it is a negative modulator, di ba? Kumbaga, napapa-decrease niya yung affinity ng oxygen towards hemoglobin. Yung kapatid niya, yung brother niya, ng crush mo, is the bisphosphoglycerate. So another negative modulator. Okay? Ang iyahang boyfriend, ang imong crush na boyfriend, yang boyfriend kay si carbon monoxide. Pila gani ang affinity ni carbon monoxide sa hemoglobin? How many times greater than oxygen? It is, you type in sa chat box. Natulog na akong mga estudyante. Okay, 200, 200 to 250, 200 to 250 times greater iyahang affinity than oxygen. Ikaw, kinsa raman ka? Ikaw ra si oxygen. Okay? So, pildigid ka. Permi sa iyahang uyab. Kaya ang uyab, 200 to 250 times greater yung affinity towards the girl that you like, which is hemoglobin. Diba? So, somehow, makasabot ta og mga memes sa biochemistry as long as you understand the concept no nga presented sa biochemistry. So you can also visit no mga pages sa Facebook on chemistry para somehow inyo ma-appreciate nga ay kasabot ko ani nga meme. Dito ka makulbaan kung wala ka kasabot sa meme. Okay? Kay kabalo na mo unsa ang reason. Wala mo kasabot kay wala man ni sulod sa klase ni ma'am. Oh, sige. So let's have this time, mga mutation that causes hemoglobin to become malformed or abnormal. So kumbaga, naatay mga states of hemoglobin that are said to be mutated. Hindi na siya yung normal na structure ng hemoglobin that we have discussed, yung mga features, characteristic na dapat standard present sa hemoglobin. So one, we have methemoglobin. Methemoglobin, kapag ang ferrous form, yung iron form ng hemoglobin, it has been converted to its oxidized form, which is the ferric. Yun lang po yung nangyari when you encounter this term, methemoglobin. Na supposedly, di ba dapat yung ferrous form, yung prosthetic group na ferrous form, doon directly attach yung oxygen. Kapag naging ferric yan class, dili na siya capable mag-hold og oxygen. Okay? So methemoglobin actually leads to hypoxia. So if you understand the term, hypo means mababa, ox for oxygen, iya for blood. Okay, so mababa ngayon yung oxygen available in the hemoglobin. So generally in the blood. Kasi naging ferric na yung prosthetic group. Supposedly ferrous, di ba, ang less reactive form. Hemoglobin M naman, ang nangyari dito is yung proximal histidine, naalala yung proximal histidine, the one that is directly attached sa iron, sa central iron ng hemoglobin. Diba, it is the proximal histidine ang part sa coordinated bonds ng iron. So yung histidine na yan, it has been replaced with tyrosine. So yan yung yan yung hemoglobin M.
Mm.
Okay? And then hemoglobin S naman, ito yung klase ng hemoglobin present sa sickle cell anemia. Kapag ang patient na ay sickle cell anemia, kung sa minahitabo atong sickle cell anemia, di ba yung valine has been replaced by glutamic acid. Okay, so yan yung nangyari kapag hemoglobin S. Okay? Next, sige, this is also other conditions, no, related also sa blood, related sa hemoglobin or sa globular proteins in general. Okay? Again, ito ay conditions, implications na may kinalaman sa abnormalities ng structure of myoglobins or hemoglobin. Myoglobinuria, as the term suggests, in the urine na ay myoglobin. Again, in the urine na ay myoglobin. So, it tells us na nasasama yung myoglobin sa ihe. It is because of the damaged muscles. Damaged muscle fibers. Kaya somehow sa urine nasasama yung mga myocytes, yung myoglobin na mga traces. Next, anemia. We have different classes of anemia. Kapag sinabing nutritional anemia, may kinalaman sa deficiencies of vitamins. Halimbawa, or ions, minerals. No, kapag deficient yung iron, that type of anemia is iron deficiency anemia. Okay, kapag naman mababa yung vitamin B12, mababa yung folic acid, merong klase din ng anemia related to this. Kung mababa yung vitamin B12 or yung folate at yung folate, no, yan yung related sa tinatawag natin na megaloblastic anemia. Kapag naman mababa ang intrinsic factor, kayo na mag-spell out ha. Intrinsic na siya, intrinsic. Uh, intrinsic factor sa parietal cells, no, sa stomach, no. Mababa ang intrinsic. Kailangan kasi yung intrinsic factor class for vitamin B12 absorption. Okay, so kung wala yan, then useless yung available vitamin B12, hindi din siya maa-absorb sa systemically, no, or sa katawan. So kung mababa yung intrinsic factor, yung type of anemia naman yan would be pernicious anemia. Yan yung pernicious anemia. Okay, so kumbaga, actually parehas sila, megaloblastic anemia and pernicious anemia, may kinalaman ultimately sa deficiency or decrease in vitamin B12. Only that, yung problema sa megaloblastic anemia, talagang yung actual nga vitamins level, amount, mababa. Dito sa pernicious anemia, meron naman, may vitamin B12 naman, hindi nga lang siya naa-absorb. So nagkakaroon ng vitamin B12 malabsorption. Hindi siya naa-absorb kasi wala yung key, no? Yung passage, yung reason, kailangan, needed para ma-absorb siya. Mababa kasi yung intrinsic factor in the stomach. Sa stomach na siya or sa parietal cells ng stomach. Needed na siya for vitamin B12 absorption. Okay, so that's it. Thalassemia naman, if there is a partial or total absence of one or more alpha chains or beta chains ng hemoglobin. So kung ang problema sa hemoglobin structure is yung missing, yung absence, partial or total ba, is yung alpha subunits, alpha thalassemia yon. Kung ang may problem sa hemoglobin structure is yung beta units, beta chains ng hemoglobin, beta thalassemia yon. Next, last na to, glycated hemoglobinemia or glycated hemoglobin. Ito yung symbol niya. That is actually used in diagnosing, for the diagnosis na siya of diabetes mellitus. Ginagamit yan as measurement, chine-check din yan, isa sa mga chine-check to identify if ang patient pa has diabetes mellitus. Chine-check yung available glycated hemoglobin. Ibig sabihin yung hemoglobin niya may attached glucose. Okay, so that's it. So glycated hemoglobin. So we are done discussing globular proteins. So that's the last slide for globular proteins. Before we proceed to nucleic acids, do you have any clarification about globular proteins? Walang clarification? Can you show a thumbs up if walang clarification? Any question? Okay, walang question. Sige. So we will now proceed to nucleic acid. So this is the second macromolecule, okay, na we will be discussing in biochemistry. Everything about nucleic acids will be covered in midterm. Okay? So kumbaga, ang coverage natin for midterm would be from yung enzymes, globular proteins, na supposedly under na siya sa proteins. Ikinulang tayo ng time. So i-add na lang nato siya sa midterm na topic. Okay, so and then the rest of the nucleic acids, part siya sa midterm. Semifinals, medyo madali na lang yung semifinals kasi all about carbohydrates and lipids. Okay, ragyod ang carbohydrates and lipids. And I believe you have somehow a knowledge na kasi nga you had your laboratory. Nag-una man mo sa carbohydrates, di ba? So I know 1 day or 2 days na to. Mahuman na to ang carbohydrates and lipids. Ang finals medyo ano siya, heavy kasi all about reactions, metabolic pathways na siya. Application na ng apat mula proteins, nucleic acids, lipids, and carbohydrates. Yan yung sa finals naman. Sige. Let's discuss the second classification of macromolecules, the nucleic acids. Nucleic acids, these are biological molecules and they possess heterocyclic nitrogenous bases. You can screenshot, hindi ko yata nabigay yung slides, no? I-screenshot na lang sa ninyo ang mga side notes. Tsaka nyo lang siya i-add if I will now upload the handouts. I repeat, it's a biological molecule that possesses heterocyclic nitrogenous bases. So our realization here, based on definition, it has a cyclic ring. Na yung type of cyclic ring is said to be hetero. Heterocyclic, it means that the ring structure contains other atoms aside from carbon. Particularly, nitrogenous man daw nga cyclic bases. So yung other atoms na present sa iyahang cyclic ring is nitrogen. Okay, so that's the definition, no, of a heterocyclic nitrogenous ring. And being a macromolecule, ang nucleic acid, macromolecule man siya, so binubuo siya ng mga simpler units, monomer units. So ang monomers ng nucleic acid, as we recall, it's nucleotides. Again, ang monomer units ng nucleic acids, nucleotides. It's the same with sa proteins, iba na yung monomer units sa proteins, and yun naman ay mga amino acids. Generally speaking, the function of nucleic acids sa katawan, mainly important sila for storage of information, and also for transfer, passage of information. Kaya, importante sila in synthesizing later on proteins. So in our preceding topics, under nucleic acids, we will be mentioning a type of nucleic acids na very important for the transfer of information para mabuo ultimately ang isang klase, specific class of a protein. Okay? But before learning nucleic acids, the macromolecules, the complex molecule ng nucleic acids, of course, it is a must that we understand first the basic units, yung monomer units nila. The same lang gyapon sa flow when we discuss about proteins. The reason why it's somehow understandable na ang mga complex proteins kasi you have started learning the monomers. monomer units of proteins, yung amino acids muna. So, ganun din yung sa nucleic acids. Aaralin muna natin yung nucleotides. Ano ba yung bumubuo sa nucleotides? What are the structures present sa nucleotides? How they are connected? And paano nag-connect ang mga nucleotides forming nucleic acid? So, same lang gihapon ang flow. Now, there are two major types ng nucleic acids. We have the DNA, or this is also known as the deoxyribonucleic acid, ribonucleic acid. And then yung RNA naman, familiar naman mo ani, di ba? Ribonucleic acid. Okay. So I repeat, DNA and RNA, these are only the major types of nucleic acids. So your realization now, if when you encounter the word DNA, RNA, isa pala silang macromolecule. Isa silang nucleic acids. So on the preceding slides also, magde-discuss tayo ng structure of DNA, the central dogma of molecular biology, how is the DNA converted form into proteins. Okay? So, may segment tayo na madadiscuss natin in detailed, thoroughly, each of these types ng nucleic acid. So, for now, dun muna tayo sa monomer units ng nucleic acids para ma-appreciate nyo din no, yung formation, paano na form ultimately ang isang macromolecule na nucleic acids. So let's start with nucleotide. Again, nucleotides are the monomer units of nucleic acids. And talking about the structure of nucleotide, it is generally composed of three parts. So merong three general parts, three groups present sa isang nucleotide. And these are default na mga structure. Palaging makikita sa mga nucleotide. So number one, any nucleotide, they composed of the N bases. Ay sabi dyan sa label, nitrogenous bases. So that's number one. Second, any ayan, nucleotides, merong sugar portion. So that's number two. And lastly, meron din silang phosphate group as being labeled. So that is number 3. So ito yung tatlong general parts or general group of atoms no na present sa isang nucleotide. The nitrogenous bases, a sugar portion, and a phosphate. So, ang point dito is kapag yung isa dyan wala, that is not anymore considered nucleotide. Dapat ang isang nucleotide na agad na ang tulo. Phosphate, sugar, and nitrogenous base. Same concept no sa amino acid. Di ba ang amino acid na siya default? Any amino acid na siya default group of atoms. Okay? Na kung saan they are being attached to the alpha carbon. So ganun lang din dito sa nucleotide. Kung naay kulang dira nga isa, dili na siya nucleotide. So we will be discussing each of these group present sa nucleotide, starting with the sugar portion in a form of monosaccharides, and followed by the N bases, then finally the phosphate group. So yeah, let's start with the sugar portion, the monosaccharide or the sugar portion ng nucleotides. Okay, with regards to the sugar portion, kahit anong klaseng nucleic acid, kahit gaano pa kahaba yung polynucleotide, ilan pang nucleotide yan, the type of sugar present in a nucleotide is always an aldopentose. And I believe you are familiar with the term pentose. Ibig sabihin, yung sugar portion contains how many carbon? Kapag sinabing pentose, ilang carbon yun? Okay, 5. Very good. Kapag sinabing pentose, the sugar portion contains 5 carbon. O, tingnan natin sa illustration kung 5 carbon ba yun. ang present in the sugar, in the monosaccharide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Another one, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these are pentose sugar. Ang aldo, dyan, galing yan sa word na aldehyde. So meaning to say, yung sugar portion sa nucleotide, merong organic group nga aldehyde group or functional group nga aldehyde. So itong portion na to particularly, okay? Yung aldehyde, di ba, is carbon double bond O, tapos merong terminal hydrogen. So yan. So yung CHO dyan is actually an aldehyde. Okay, so yan yung aldopento. So generally speaking, again, generally speaking, the sugar portion of a nucleotide in a nucleic acid, it's always an aldopentose. And the numbering, meron tong specific way of numbering no ng limang carbon sa sugar portion ng nucleotide. They are termed as 1 prime, yan yung way of numbering. 2 prime, 3 prime, 4 prime, 5 prime. Ito 1 prime, 2, 3 prime, 4 prime, and 5 prime. So that's how we number the 5 carbons in the aldopentose sugar. Now, it is important that we identify the specific naman na type of aldopentose in each nucleic acids. Okay, so we have actually two specific types ng aldopentose sugar that is being observed sa nucleotide ng nucleic acids. Okay, particularly we have a D-ribose, ito yung ribose. Ito naman, yung sugar na to specifically is D2-deoxy. That's deoxyribose. D-ribose is present in RNA. Deoxyribose is present in DNA. Ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng dalawang structure? Can you point out what prime carbon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nagkaiba yung dalawang structure. Na isa ka carbon dira, nga dili sila parehas o doon sila nagkaiba. Okay, obviously that is very good. Second prime or the 2 prime. Dito sila nagkaiba. I repeat, yung dalawang sugar portion, nagkaiba lang sila sa 2 prime or the second prime carbon na kung saan ang ribose, it has an OH, whereas yung deoxyribose, no OH at carbon 2. Again, no OH at carbon 2 kung deoxyribose. It makes sense na ang tawag sa iyaha is deoxyribose, meaning it is removed with OH sa kanyang ribose sugar. Sa inyang carbon 2, sa iyahang 2' carbon. Kaya din, ang tawag diba sa DNA, yung pangalan ng DNA is deoxyribo. Kasi nga, yung sugar present sa DNA is a deoxyribose. And then, ang tawag naman sa RNA is ribose, ribo. Kasi yung sugar niya is a ribose. Okay, so yung 2' carbon is our indicator to identify what type of sugar is present. Titingnan lang natin kung may presence ba of OH or walang OH. That's the time we could identify if it is a ribose or a deoxyribose. Okay? So that is all about the sugar portion ng nucleotide. Sige, let's proceed now to the second group no nga present sa nucleotide, yung nitrogenous bases. Okay, with regards to the nitrogenous bases, the N-containing bases, there are generally two types. Kung general nga classification, natay duha ka types. 1 and 2, natay ginatawag na pyrimidine N bases. We also have the purine N bases. Again, we have pyrimidine, and mamaya we have purine bases. Under pyrimidine bases, we have three specific examples. We have cytosine, uracil, and thymine. Yung mnemonics natin dito para dali lang siya ma-identify, pi cut, pi, and then cut. Pi for pyrimidine, cut for cytosine, uracil, and thymine. Bakit sila pyrimidine bases, yung tatlo? It is because when we check their structure, tingnan yung structure nila, they are simply derived from a pyrimidine parent compound. I repeat, they are classified as pyrimidine bases because in their structure, in their ring structure, meron silang pyrimidine na parent compound. That's why pyrimidine N bases sila. So kindly take note, pi cut. Okay? And it is a must, no, na you familiarize the structure. Kasi there will be, sa assessment, there will be questions wherein ipa-identify mo what is that pyrimidine basis illustrated. Okay? So somehow dapat familiar mo when to say it is cytosine, uracil, or thymine. For the second classification ng N bases, we have the purine N bases. So kung titingnan mo yung purine bases, mas malaki yung structure nila, yung ring structure nila. In fact, they are in bicyclic. No? Bicyclic yung ring nila. Meaning there are two rings fused together. Two rings fused together. So somehow, kung may mga assessment, pina-identify mo if it is pyrimidine and bases or is it a purine base, titingnan mo lang kung sino yung may malaking structure. Kasi bicyclic naman daan ang purine. So we are sure enough nga kung two fused ring na, purine yun na siya, nga N bases. Okay, so we have two specific example under purine N bases. We have guanine and adenine. So, purine bases sila kasi in their ring structure, they are derived from purine parent compound. So, yung mnemonics naman natin dito is porga. Okay? Porga. Por for purine, G for guanine, A for adenine. Okay? Now, with this information, we have to identify naman kung ano yung mga N bases present sa two major types ng nucleic acid. Kasi kanina na-identify natin, di ba, kung ano yung sugar present sa RNA, ano yung sugar present sa DNA. This time din, ato pong i-classify, ano-ano yung mga N bases present sa DNA, ano naman yung N bases sa RNA. So, kindly take note. Sa DNA, ito yung mga nitrogenous bases. Gaano pa kahaba yung DNA structure? Ilang nucleotides pa yan? When we check the nitrogenous bases, yung bumubuo lang doon is only adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Wala nang iba. Okay? So yun lang yung mga nitrogenous bases doon sa DNA. Sa RNA naman, same lang din pero yung thymine is replaced with uracil. So dito lang sila nagkaiba. So ito lang yung i-memorize nyo. Sino yung may thymine, sino yung may uracil. Okay, basta si DNA may thymine, si RNA may uracil. And then the rest, parehas sila meron. Okay, so yan yung nitrogenous bases. So far, we discussed the first two na general structure present sa nucleotide. So you have the monosaccharides and the N bases. Now, kindly take note na whenever the sugar portion of the nucleotide, no, the sugar portion connects with the nitrogenous bases, ang tawag natin sa kanila collectively is nakasulat na pala, nucleoside. Ayan. I repeat, kapag ang monosaccharide, ang sugar portion, is now connected, nag-connect na with the nitrogenous bases, with one nitrogenous base, then nucleoside ang tawag sa kanila. Ano naman yung meron kay nucleotide na wala sa nucleoside? Yung nucleotide, yung monomer unit ng nucleic acid. Ano yung meron sa kanya? Aside from monosaccharide, and then N bases, ano yung meron pa para mabuo yung nucleotide? Okay, very good. Yung phosphate, okay? Phosphate group. Wala, ako pag yung na-mention, di ba? Phosphate, monosaccharide, o N bases. Yun yung bumubuo sa nucleotide. Pero kung ang nag-link lang is si sugar o si N bases, side pa yun. Letter S, nucleoside. So, kind of take note of that difference. So, this time, let us learn and understand how is the sugar portion connected to N bases. Paano sila nag-connect? Ano yung bond na naglilink sa sugar at saka sa nitrogenous bases? Okay, forming nucleoside. Okay, can you take note that the sugar portion can be linked, it is linked, joined with the nitrogenous bases, okay, uh, with a point of attraction. So, naa na sila, kumbaga connection or what we call a carbon atom that connects to another atom towards the N bases. So particularly, nagjo-join, nagko-connect yung sugar portion to N bases by simply joining the first prime carbon ng sugar. Uh, you think about it, yung first prime, yung prime, one prime carbon ng sugar, magko-connect siya towards the nitrogen atom ng N bases. Eh, marami mang nitrogen atom, di ba, sa N bases. So, we have to find out what particular nitrogen atom ng purine bases or pyrimidine bases. So, ang nucleoside as being defined, it is joined or formed by linking one prime carbon of the sugar to the nitrogen 1, the N1 of pyrimidine. Okay? So that's how a sugar is connected to a pyrimidine base. How many pyrimidine base na na-mention kanina? How many examples, specific examples ng pyrimidine base? 2 or 3? Okay, tatlo. Yung pyrimidine bases. So either doon, hawa, ribose na sugar, nag-connect, halimbawa ha, ribose sugar, nag-connect siya sa cytosine, di ba? Cytosine is a pyrimidine. Okay? Paano ito sila magko-connect? Ay, hindi ko na i-draw ha, yung structure. Basta isipin nyo lang yung ring ng sugar, ribose, and yung ring ng pyrimidine-based cytosine. Paano sila magko-connect? Mula sa 1' carbon ng sugar, magko-connect siya doon sa N1. Okay? Ng pyrimidine bases. So that's how they are linked together forming nucleoside. And then, kapag naman purine ang base, so magbigay tayo ng example. Halimbawa, ang sugar naman this time is deoxyribose. Nag-connect siya with guanine. Diba? Guanine is a purine. Purga. Diba? Part siya ng purga. Okay, so maglilink yan, yung dalawang structure na yan, sugar and base, from 1' carbon of deoxyribose towards the N9, okay, of purine. Okay, sige. Susulat natin from 1' carbon towards N9 if it is a purine base, and then from 1' carbon towards N1 if it is pyrimidine. Okay, pyrimidine base. Now, what do you call naman the bond that links sugar and the base? Anong tawag natin sa bond na yun, no, na nagko-connect sa sugar at saka base forming nucleoside? We call that beta N glycosidic bond. Beta N glycosidic bond. So, can you take note of the terms ng mga na-mention natin? Glycosidic bond. Ato na na siyang ma-mention later, no, pag dating natin sa mismong illustration. So for now, theory muna. So that's the bond that connects a sugar with a nitrogenous base. Beta N glycosidic bond. Ang 1' carbon ng sugar mo connect sa N9 if it is a purine base. Ang 1' carbon ng sugar mo connect sa N1 if it is pyrimidine base. Okay, so done with the linkage of sugar to base forming nucleoside. So this time, let's discuss naman how to name a nucleoside. Kasi nakabuo na tayo ng nucleoside. It's the combination of the two. Paano naman natin siya pangangalanan, no? Bigyan ng name. They are being named simply from the name of its N bases. So derived lang from the name of their nitrogenous base. Halimbawa, if the nitrogenous base is a pyrimidine base, di ba? Pi-cut man nga to ang mnemonics ani. So, from its pyrimidine name nga pangalan, you change the suffix into idine. Di ba? Tuluman kabuok ang pyrimidine base. Yung mnemonics natin is cut. So, instead of saying cytosine, naging nucleoside naman siya, na ana siya'y added nga sugar, ang mahitabo sa iya, cytidine. Okay, cytidine. Okay, pag uracil, mahimo na siya, idin ang ending, uridine. Pag thymine, mahimo naman siya og thymidine. Again, ito yung pangalan ha kapag naging nucleoside na. And the N bases are said to be pyrimidine base. Okay, and then kapag naman derived from purine base, you simply change the suffix into osin. So, ay may hitabo sa guanine, mahimo na siya guanosin. Ang mahimo sa adenine, adenosin. So, these are the names of the nucleoside. Again, nucleoside, yan, nga pangalan. Whenever the sugar combined sa N bases are said to be ribose. Yan mismo ang pangalan. Cytidine, uridine, thymidine, guanosin, adenosine if ang ilahang ka-connect is a sugar ha nga ribose. O question, kung ribose na sugar or D ribose, naabay OH sa 2' carbon ng sugar? Yes or no? Yes or no lang? Okay, yes. Na IOH sa 2' carbon ng sugar. Okay? So that's it. And then, with regards to, ayan, paano naman kapag itong mga bases na to nakalink sa deoxy nga ribose? So that's the time you add a prefix, deoxy, sa pangalan ng nucleoside. So, ang mahitabo, may mukag deoxycytidine, deoxyuridine, deoxythymidine, deoxy, ayan. Butangan lang ninyo deoxy. Kung ang sugar, kung asa sila na link, deoxyribose. Okay? I-reflect na to doon sa pangalan. So, halimbawa kani, kung sa may pangalan aning you type in sa chat box, ang deoxyribose nag-link sa guanine. What's the name of the nucleoside? Sige, go. I know you're still typing. Medyo mahaba. Okay. That's deoxyguanosin. Correct. Kasi ang purine nga base, osin naman siya. Eh, yung sugar is deoxyribose man. So you have to add the prefix deoxy. So deoxy guanosine. So nucleoside na siya hangap naming. Nucleoside nga naming. Wala patay phosphate ana. Wala pa'y phosphate. Wala pa ni siya. Kasi nga nucleoside is only sugar and bases. Okay, this is another no na kumbaga figure that for better understanding ng mga sinabi natin kanina nga concept. So halimbawa, you have a sugar ribose. Tingnan ha sa illustration. The sugar is a ribose. So merong OH, 'di ba? Ang 2' carbon. So ribose na siya.
Mhm.
Obviously, yung binigay dito nga N-base is a monocyclic nga ring. So this is pyrimidine. Obviously, pyrimidine yun eh. No? Kaya it's a small ring. So cytosine siya. Therefore, kapag nag-link na yung 1' carbon ng sugar towards N1 of pyrimidine. Di ba N1 ng pyrimidine ring, yun yung point of attachment. Okay? Para mag-link si sugar at saka si N-bases nga pyrimidine. Okay, so mabubuo na this time yung nucleoside. And yung pangalan ng nucleoside dito is obviously cytidine. We don't have to add a prefix deoxy. Kasi yung sugar dito is just a ribose. No, D-ribose ang sugar dyan. So, cytidine. That's it. Kasi pag galing siya sa pyrimidine, idin ang iyang ending na suffix for its nucleoside name. Okay? Now, focusing on let's focus on the linkage. Yung nabuong nag-connect sa sugar at saka sa N-bases. So, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina na bond. And that bond, sabi dito, is the N-glycoside bond or ito din specifically ang beta-N glycoside. Okay? Beta-N glycosidic bond, that's the bond ha, that connects the sugar portion and the N-bases. Okay, ano ba yung functional group na ga-represent sa usa ka glycoside is a component of a plant. And there is a specific functional group that is observed sa isang glycoside and particularly it is an ether type. Okay, it is an ether type functional group. Di ba ang ether is ROR? So now, bakit tinawag siyang N glycoside? It is because, yes, ether type siya, pero pagtingin natin sa linkage, yung nabuong linkage, di ba? It's an R or a carbon, and then an N, and then another carbon. So, R and R ang nahitabo, R and R. So, kumbaga, ang oxygen in an ether has been replaced with a nitrogen. Okay? Kaya N-glycoside tawag. Kaya kung glycoside ra na, ether good, ROR good ang makita. Pero gi-specify dito nga the oxygen has been replaced with an N, kaya N-glycoside, N-glycosidic bond. Bakit naman siya tinawag na beta? Okay, it has something to do with the nitrogenous base nga ring attached to the sugar portion. Madadiscuss to siya actually in detail sa carbohydrates. But for now, I will give you an overview, no? Bakit siya tinawag na beta? Again, orientation yan ng ring attached sa sugar portion. Attached sa 1' carbon ng sugar. Matatawag natin na beta siya, oriented siya, positioning orientation if it is observed on top of the sugar, if it is attached on top, no, sa top side no, ng sugar portion. So that's beta. Iba naman yung alpha ng orientation. That is said to be downward. So nasa sa baba ng ring ng sugar. Eh yung nasa specific no nga orientation dito, how is the links to the sugar nasa sa taas man So this is a beta orientation. Kaya beta and glycosidic bond. Para hindi nyo siya makalimutan, no? Uh, when you write beta, palatandaan ko lang to actually. When you write beta, di ba, is pataas. So upward na siya sa taas. No, yung ring ng nitrogenous base. Taas siya sa sugar portion. And then when you write, di ba, alpha, going down. Okay, alpha is going down. Okay, so palatandaan lang na siya when to say it's in beta position or alpha position. Okay, so that's it for the formation of nucleoside. Then that's the bond that links the sugar and then the N bases. This is another example. This time, you have a deoxyribose. Okay, tingnan nyo sa 2' carbon, walang OH. So, deoxy na siya nga ribose. That's the specific sugar present. And then, yung makikita natin na N-base, nitrogenous base, is bicyclic. So, it is a purine na N-base. Particularly, it's an adenine. Therefore, when we name the combination, yung nucleoside, diba, this is a nucleoside already. Combination of the sugar and then the N-bases. So, pag pangalan na to ani, this will become deoxyadenosine. Okay? Deoxyadenosine. So, yan yung pangalan ng nucleoside. And ito again, yung beta N glycosidic bond. Okay? Ang sabi dito, tingnan yung linkage. Since this is a purine base, yung linkage niya to the sugar is mula sa kanyang N9. Okay? Do not be confused kung asa ang point of attachment. If it is purine or pyrimidine. Basta alamin nyo lang kinsa ang mas daghan og atoms in a ring, then siya yung higher number ng starting point linking to the sugar. So, bicyclic, di ba, si purine. Dako ang iyahang structure. So, N9 yung point of attachment niya towards the 1' carbon of sugar. N1 naman yung pyrimidine. Okay? So, from this nucleoside, kapag dinagdagan na natin siya ng phosphate, let's say added with phosphate, that's the time will tend to form nucleotide. Okay? So, this time, let's have the formation naman ng nucleotide. So, any nucleotides, so meron na yung tatlo. N-bases, sugar, and may dagdag na phosphate group. Okay, so I repeat, kapag yung nucleoside kanina, dinagdagan na natin ng phosphate, nucleotide na yon. And how is the phosphate group attached to the nucleoside? The phosphate group is attached to the 5' carbon or 5' OH of the sugar. So dito, diba ito yung 5' ng sugar. Dun po i-attach ang phosphate. So, marami na tayong importance no na mention for the prime carbons ng sugar. Ang 1' carbon that links to the N bases. Ang 2' carbon, this will tell us kung anong klaseng sugar ang present. Is it a ribose or deoxyribose? Indicator natin siya for the type of sugar, ang 2' carbon. And then, yung 5' carbon, yan naman yung point of attachment for the phosphate group. Okay, how do we name a nucleotide? No? Since may dagdag na siya na phosphate. Mula ani nga pangalan, di ba, we already know how to name a nucleoside. Kung naa na siya phosphate class, ihapon ra nimo ang phosphate. Kung isa ra ka phosphate, then mo yung kag monophosphate. Dagdagan mo lang sa pangalan. Monophosphate. Example, kani siya. Dugangan nato ni siya og phosphate. Halimbawa, nanay phosphate. Sa iyang pangalan, dagdagan mo lang ng 5 monophosphate. You just have to count the number of phosphate present. So, halimbawa dito, This is obviously a sugar here is a ribose. Kasi may OH man, di ba, sa 2' carbon. And ito class, this ring is actually the ring of cytosine. Therefore, yung pangalan ng nucleoside is cytidine na daan, cytidine. Eh may phosphate na, isa ka phosphate. So cytidine 5 monophosphate. So yan yung pangalan ng nucleotide. Okay, so ito yun, cytidine 5 monophosphate or CMP. Okay. Now this is another example. Ito is already a nucleotide. Kasi may N-base, a sugar, and a phosphate. O, bago muna yung pangalan no, sa baba. By just looking at the sugar portion, makaingon gyud ta nga this is deoxyribose. Tama? Kasi wala namang OH sa iyang 2' carbon. So, deoxy yun siya. Then, pagtingin sa ring structure, this is a purine nga base. So, kung purine base na siya, nara na ana kung adenine ba siya or guanine. And obviously, this is actually adenine. So, you have to be familiar with the N bases. You have to know what is the ring structure of cytosine, uracil, thymine, guanine, and adenine. Itong binigay dito, adenine. So, pag kinumbine itong dalawa, deoxyadenosine yun. Okay? Yung nucleoside. Eh, may dagdag na phosphate. O, you count how many phosphate? Isa. So, 5 monophosphate. Yung 5 dyan, class, attachment na siya ni phosphate. Isang phosphate na naka-attach sa 5' carbon. 5' carbon ng sugar. Okay? And this one, tapusin ko lang yung introduction no, sa nucleic acid. So this is a step-by-step no, nga connection. This is another example. You have a ribose sugar. You have a purine N base, yung adenine. So pinagsama sila, adenosine. Walang dagdag na deoxy. Kasi this is just a ribose sugar. Walang dagdag nga deoxy na prefix. So adenosine, tapos how many? Phosphate, dalawa ang phosphate. So diphosphate attached sa 5' carbon. Okay, ito naman kung tatlo na ang phosphate doon sa adenosine, no? Then adenosine triphosphate na yan, or specifically adenosine 5 triphosphate. This is 5' carbon. Kaya 5 triphosphate. Sorry. And then we have, okay, for this example, with regards to the formation class, di ba? Now, we have learned already how to identify nucleoside from nucleotide. This time, paano naman nucleotide, another nucleotide, tapos another pag yun nga nucleotide. So, nag-connect-connect na ang nucleotide to nucleotide to nucleotide, then that's the time mabubuo yung macromolecule nga nucleic acids. And there is actually a connection, no? Ng linkage, may linkage na yan na nagko-connect sa isang nucleotide to another nucleotide. So, ito yon. Kapag nag-connect na ha, kahit dalawa lang na nucleotide nag-connect, that's already considered nucleic acid. Kasi nucleotides, bumubuo sila sa isang nucleic acid. So, these are already polymers of nucleotides and they are being joined by PDE, phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond. Yan yung, kumbaga, linkage, connection, the bridge na nagko-connect-connect sa isang nucleotide to another nucleotide and another pag yun na nucleotide. Kahit gaano pa kahaba yung nucleotide, polynucleotide, nucleic acid, ang nagko-connect dyan is phosphodiester linkage. And kailan ba nabubuo or saang portion nagko-connect ang isang nucleotide to another nucleotide. So kindly take note that the nucleotide nga connection is mula sa, this is another important nga prime carbon of the sugar. Mula sa pinakaunang nucleotide, example, this is nucleotide 1. Tingnan niyo yung 3' carbon niya. That will be the point of attachment, no, ng isang nucleotide to the second nucleotide. Okay, so mula sa 3' carbon ng one sugar to the 5' carbon ng another nucleotide. Okay, so that is where we could observe a linkage from one nucleotide to another nucleotide. Okay, so these are two nucleotides class. Kasi dalawa phosphate, dalawa N bases. So, dalawang nucleotide nga nag-connect lang. Okay? Again, ako ang i-summarize ha. Ang isang nucleotide, magko-connect sila to another nucleotide via phosphodiester linkage. Ang phosphodiester linkage, nabubuo siya mula sa 3' carbon or 3' OH ng sugar of the first nucleotide to the 5' carbon ng second nucleotide. Kaya in some other references, ang tawag natin sa phosphodiester bond is also 3' to 5' phosphodiester bond. Okay? Again, that direction is only referring to the linkage ng nucleotides. Okay? So mula sa 3' OH ha, hanggang sa 5' carbon. Okay? Ng first and then kasunod na nucleotide. Okay, so this is another example, illustration ng connection nucleotides in a nucleic acid. Okay, so ito yon. Mula sa pinakaunang, by the way, kung titingnan mo yung buong nucleic acid, pila man ikabo ka nucleotide? How many nucleotide you are observing being connected together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4. Yes, so very good. 4. Your point of reference here could either be the N bases, no, pili lang kayo, or the sugar, or the phosphate group. No, either lang na inyong point of reference sa pagbilang kung ilan yung nucleotide present. And usually when talking about the sequence, how do we write a sequence of nucleotide sa napakahabang nucleic acid or polynucleotide? You simply refer to the N bases. That's how we write a sequence. Example, ang pinakauna nga nucleotide is si C followed by A, T, and G. So kumbaga they represent the nucleotides present in that nucleic acid. So sila ang representation per nucleotide. Kung mag-write ka og sequence. So yung sequence dito is CATG na kung saan ang connection ng one nucleotide to another nucleotide is mula sa 3' carbon of one nucleotide to the 5' carbon ng another nucleotide. Ito yun. The phosphodiesterase linkage, it is joined, no, via connecting the 3' carbon of one nucleotide to 5' carbon of another nucleotide. So this is a phosphodiesterase, not the esterase, it's diester bond. Phosphodiester linkage, phosphodiester bond. Okay? Again, unsa iyahang direction ana, it's 3 to 5. Again, referring ni siya sa bond. Okay? Now try to observe the whole yung whole nga kumbaga listing or whole nucleotide sequence, yung sequence niya. Kung titingnan natin mula sa pinakauna hanggang pinakadulo, meron tayong ma-observe na mga free groups. Free groups are non-reacting groups. So kumbaga, sa pinakaunahan, proximal part ng nucleotide sequence, there is one nucleotide that has a free phosphate group. Then on the last nucleotide na ay free. Sa pinaka-last na nucleotide sa baba, ang free dire is hydroxyl. Free means non-reacting. Okay? Mura siya katong concept sa N-terminus and C-terminus. Sa N-terminus na free amino group. Sa C-terminus ng polypeptide chain is the free carboxyl. Dito naman, sa isang polynucleotide na sequence, sa unahan, nagnay free phosphate. And sa pinakadulo na free hydroxyl from a sugar portion. Okay? So question dito, among this sequence, CATG, sino yung may free phosphate? CATG, may free phosphate sa sequence. Si C, si A, si T, or si G. Okay, very good. It's the C, no? Siya yung may free phosphate. And therefore, yung pinakadulo, siya yung may free OH. Tingnan yung direction ng buong sequence. I want you to check the whole sequence, ha? Yung buong sequence na. Okay? Yung buong sequence mula sa pinakauna hanggang pinakadulong nucleotide, in this given example, the direction is said to be from 5 prime. Tingnan, from 5 prime, kasi yun yung may free phosphate, di ba? From 5 prime to, ano yung dulo? 3 prime. Okay? So take note, if you are asked for the overall sequence ng any nucleotide, polynucleotide, mahabang connection ng nucleotides, ang sequence is always from 5 prime to 3 prime. 5 prime is the one with a free phosphate. 3 prime is the one with a free hydroxyl. Okay? So ito yon, si cytidine dyan, or cytosine, yan yung merong free phosphate mula sa 5 prime. Attached sa kanyang 5 prime sugar. And then si guanine dyan, siya yung may free hydroxyl group na makikita sa kanyang 3 prime carbon. Okay, so that's the overall direction. So do not confuse it with the bond. Yung 3 to 5 kanina, ano lang yun, sa bond lang yun na mabubuo. Connection ng isang nucleotide, another nucleotide. Okay, this is something to do with the linkage only. Pero kung buo na, kabuuan mula sa una hanggang pinakadulong nucleotide, the sequence is from 5 prime to 3 prime. So ito yung sinabi ko kanina, nga any polynucleotide, napakahabang sequence ng nucleotide, they are named by the representative N bases. Okay, so isulat nyo lang kinsay una, pangalawa, pangatlo, so on and so forth, nga N bases. And it is being read, tingnan, read from 5 prime to 3 prime end, from 5 prime to 3 prime end. Alright? Ito, just to reinforce lang ni siya, more gyapon nga concept. Same lang nga concept, para lang yun ma-recall, no? For retention purposes. So you have here the sequence, 4 sequence of nucleotide, T, A, C, and G. Therefore, base dito na sequence, we could tell nga it is the thymine that carries the free phosphate group. And it is the guanine, no, that carries free hydroxyl group. And the overall sequence, again, is from 5 prime, and 5 prime to 3 prime end. That's how we read a polynucleotide. And itong highlight na color blue dito, that is simply the linkage. Paano ba nag-connect ang isa ka nucleotide o another nga nucleotide via the 3 to 5 phosphodiester bond. Okay, mula sa 3 prime carbon ng isang sugar then sa 5' carbon ng another sugar group. Doon natin makikita yung phosphodiester bond. Ito din, just a skeletal lang representation. You have here TACG, ang free phosphate group, makikita doon sa 5 end. Ang free hydroxyl group, makikita doon sa dulo, the 3 end. Okay? Sige, so I think it's understandable naman yung iba pang illustration. TAGG, TACG, T has the one with the 5' end, and G has the 3' end. Okay, sige. So I think that ends, no? The kumbaga preliminary no parts overview ng nucleic acids. So I discussed the kumbaga monomer units, focusing on the monomer units ng nucleic acids and paano sila nagko-connect hanggang mabuo ang macromolecule na nucleic acid. So next meeting naman, i-discuss natin yung two types na ng nucleic acids, yung DNA at saka ng yung RNA. Okay, so more on the complex form, the kumbaga macromolecule na, the types of nucleic acid. Sige. So I think that ends na the discussion. So I hope you have grasped something out of our discussion for this afternoon na ba, noon time. So pasensya na, medyo na ay extension. But yes, we will not meet anymore this afternoon for section 2C, and then for 2B as well, no? Di na ta mag-meet. Awa naman ta wa man gud ta nag-meet gahapon. That's why gi-meet nako mo karon. So ang next meeting nato for 2B would be on Thursday, and then for 2C on Friday. Okay? So next week pa ang series of assessment. Next week ang series of assessment. So as early as now, you try to advanced study na sa mula sa enzymes, globular proteins kasi natapos naman natin sila i-discuss. Including this ng mga na-discuss natin. Then the rest, ako lang i-upload sa yung PDF ba? PDF handouts, i-upload na ko siya sa classroom. Okay? Clarification. Walay clarification. Okay, walang clarification. If wala na, then I will now dismiss the class. So thank you everyone for joining. Have a happy lunch. I'll see you again next meeting.
Thank you, Ma'am Claudia.
Bye,
Bye,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.